Okay, awesome. So I'm super, super excited to have our special guest today, Rich Pisani. And I know Rich is super excited too, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, it's amazing. Always interesting because we always work with people and we become great friends, and sometimes you're like, you know what? I know him from this point forward, right? And maybe know a lot about them. Can you hear me, Christine?
Your volume went down a little.
Yeah. You backed up or something.
Okay. All right. So I'll just stay up here. Anyway, you guys aren't here to hear me. You're here to hear Rich Pisani. So, Rich, we love you, and you're like the best broker I've ever worked with in my last 24 years of being in real estate. So I appreciate everything you do for the office, for the agents, etc. And so we want to hear your story. Like, what did you do before? How did you get into real estate? What was your real estate? What did you do in real estate? And then how did you become now all of a sudden you're broker of 3 different offices? How does that happen? And how did that happen for you? Can you just start sharing your story?
Sure. I, like everybody in real estate, had another life prior to, although there are people who start in real estate and their whole careers in real estate, but I had, for 30 plus years, I had another career. I went to college in San Jose, California, UC San Jose or San Jose State. And I went for radio and television broadcasting. So I got my degree in radio and television broadcasting, and right out of college, I got a job at a little small television station up in San Jose. And it was a financial news network, and we did everything. We ran cameras, we directed, it was a great learning experience, but I always knew I wanted to be in entertainment. So I quit that job and moved to LA, and with no job prospects. And I started off as a runner. And for those of you who don't know what a runner is, they run and do whatever. And my first runner job was at a film company that made horror films. And as you went through the halls, you heard screams, as you walked through the halls. But then I got a job at a game show, being a runner. And I met a woman who booked the celebrities on that game show. And we formed a friendship. And when she did other shows, and when her second person went off to do other things, she asked me to join her, and that began my career as a talent coordinator in entertainment. So and through her, I met other women. There's these group of women who book shows in LA in the 80s and 90s. And I worked for 3 of them, and I got jobs and I've worked the Oscars, the Emmys, and I've had a great career in entertainment, and I've had great stories from working in entertainment. And little known thing is I still do it. Even with being the broker of 3 offices, I do 2 shows a year as a talent supervisor. I do the Tonys, and I do the Kennedy Center Honors. So I will be off in probably the end of May, early June. I'll be in New York doing the Tonys, and but I still am available to. Most of you don't even know that I'm gone, because I still deal with the issues and whatnot. And it's just, it's just what I've done. So anyways, that's my other career. And then I got my real estate license in 2005. And I did it part-time for a while. And after 13 years at E, I he was being bought by NBC and they laid off a lot of people. I was one of them. And I decided to go into real estate full time. And my first office was Dilbeck in Sherman Oaks, which no longer exists. It's the Wells Fargo now. But I had a fantastic manager, Bonnie Strassman, and she was a great mentor to me. And I started my full-time real estate career with her, and she was a hands-on manager, and she believed in training her agents, and she took us out to open houses, and she made us assess value, and it was a great experience. So that was the start of my real estate career, and from there I went to Rodeo because she moved to Rodeo. And I worked at Rodeo Studio City for a long time. And then and my beginning real estate career started because my partner and I, we loved buying houses and fixing them up. And we kind of did that for a while. And we owned a house in Valley Glen, what is now Valley Glen. And we renovated that house and then bought the house next door and renovated that and moved into it. The plan was to move into it for 2 years and then sell them both or sell one of them. But guess what? We bought in 2006. And so 2007 and 2008 happened. And we were kind of stuck in the one that we bought because we paid a lot of money for it, put a lot of money into it. And so we were stuck there, never thought we'd get all the money out of it. But after 10 years, we did, and then some. So, after we sold that house, we decided, we always liked Pasadena. So let's try Pasadena. So we moved to Pasadena. I moved offices to CB, Coldwell Banker in Pasadena. And then after being there, we liked Pasadena, but it added a half hour to anything you ever did. So, anyways, I was approached in 2018. I had gotten my broker's license in 2017, and I was approached in 2018 by many, and because he had heard about me. He was given my name. He was looking for a new broker of Calabasas, and I met with him. It was the longest interview process I've ever been a part of. It lasted months. And then I joined Calabasas in September of 2018. First as their compliance officer, but it was always in the plan for me to move to the broker of record, which took endless months to get the paperwork done. But that's thanks to our DRE. So that started my broker career. Calabasas is my first broker. That was my first job as a broker. What suits me for the job, I think, is that during my career, I did TC work for other agents because agents hate to do the paperwork, and I love the paperwork. So I just love the structure of it, and I also loved learning new things. So I got several designations, SFR. What else do I have? I don't even remember what I have, but I got several designations in my career. And I think that's what suited me for the broker job, is because I like the structure. I like the normality of it. I like rules. And one thing I will say, going back to my first manager, is that she encouraged me from the very beginning to go to our local association, which is SRAR, and volunteer. So my volunteerism at SRAR started very early in my career. And right now I sit here as the president-elect of SRAR, and next year will be the president of SRAR because of her and her encouragement of volunteering at SRAR. I cannot say enough about, many agents think that the association is there just to get access to the MLS or to take your money for your dues and whatnot, but it's much more than that. You accomplish so much. If you want a voice in your industry, go out and volunteer, make a difference. I mean, I think I heard Stephanie say that Philip is on this call. Philip is one of those people. Oh, he's right. Oh, he's right there. Philip is one of those people who volunteered for. I saw him and volunteering and whatnot, and he is now on the board of directors, and he's on his path to sit where I'm sitting, and I see him doing this in the future. Absolutely. So I can't say enough. And there's many different committees that you can. There's a range of stuff that is available to you at your association. You can't make a difference sitting on the outside complaining. You make a difference from sitting in that boardroom and making the decisions that affect all the realtors. And we have 10,000 members in SRAR. Do you know how many people voted in the last election? 500. That's mind-boggling to me. So we need to get more people involved, more people to interact with the association, and it's a great asset to you. So use it. So that's kind of what my career is. Are we done?
No. No, sir. No, sir. No, that's an amazing journey. And the cool thing is, it sounds like you obviously have a lot of passion for the entertainment industry. So you still get to participate in that.
Absolutely.
Which is awesome. And then you have, we all know and feel your passion also for real estate.
Right.
And that's why you are president-elect, and then you're going to be our president next year because your passion, for real estate. So as you've journeyed, gone through this journey in life and careers and all this kind of stuff, so where do you kind of see these next 5 years?
The next 5 years is for real estate. The real estate, what the pandemic did is it showed that the rules of real estate kind of have changed. We don't need to be in an office necessarily to do our work. Buyers and sellers rely more on this thing that I'm sitting in front of than the actual real estate. So we as real estate agents have to make ourselves more relevant to the transaction, and more relevant to the people, because they can get their information from those other things that I won't say. They can get that information. They don't need us to get that information, but they do need us. We are an important part, especially in California, where it's so litigious and whatnot. We need to protect our buyers and sellers in the transaction, and we as realtors, and it's pronounced realtors. There is no A in it. You will be corrected by many people, as I have been. We have to protect our clients' property rights. We have to stand up for for those laws or those ordinances that are taking away property rights, and they are being taken away. So get involved, in that respect also, because it affects your business. I mean, I can remember a couple of years ago, City of Los Angeles, they wanted a point of sale about the sidewalks. And it's like, why should the seller at the end of a transaction have to pay thousands, and you have to use their contractors, have to pay thousands of dollars in order to fix a sidewalk that homeowner has paid property taxes for years and years, and the city should be doing that. So we came to a compromise, I believe, with the city, in that there's a program. It's not a point of sale anymore, but there is a program to get those sidewalks taken care of. Because why they're pushing to get the sidewalks taken care of, because they were being sued because people were tripping on them. So that's one area out of many areas. I mean, the Prop 19, the tax portability, the CAR sponsored that bill. It's still a little confusing, and it still kind of isn't there 100%, but it's there, and it's available to homeowners now, that they can take that. Older individuals can take that tax that they've been paying for years and pay much more for a property anywhere in California, and take that tax base with them. So that's a lot of that's a big help for homeowners.
Yeah, for sure. So Rich Pisani, are you looking to take on more offices? Kind of, what are your personal, I mean, like I said, as you've gone along these, your careers in life, and how your roles have expanded, especially like you said with COVID, right? It opened up even more opportunities for you.
Right.
Instead of being a broker at one office, now, you have multiple offices. So as far as your career, kind of what are your goals and aspirations as you continue on?
I absolutely would take on more offices, because I feel that I can be an asset to any office that I take over. One time I have 4 offices, but I don't think any of my offices suffered for, no matter how many offices I had. I still made myself available to my agents, and that's the one. In my career at Rodeo, which probably spanned about 4 or 5 years, I never once talked to the broker of record. I never once. I saw him. He was a scary individual. Now, I want you to be scared of me, but okay. But he was a scary individual to me. I never wanted to talk to him. I always dealt with my manager, which is fine. But I think that having the access of the broker, and trying to, because daily I'm in this situation, and it's like, I kind of know what the answer is, but I have the access to to our attorneys, and I just double check with them and make sure that I'm on the right track, and sometimes I'm not. And being able to give our agents that advice, I think is valuable, coming from the broker.
Absolutely. So I have 2 questions. One is, I think that's absolutely applicable. So you kind of laid out, hey, this is what you can do to be, take your career in being brokers and because the beauty of real estate is there's so many facets, right? There's so many different things that you can do within our industry other than just selling, right? So,
Right.
But you have to manage your day. You're juggling a gazillion agents, right? So what is your trick? What is your, magic formula to really handle, almost probably 1,000 agents, or let's see,
At one time, there was about 1,000 agents. There's
Yeah.
probably about 700 to 800 now.
Yeah.
One day is not any. I can't predict what a day will be.
Yeah.
It all depends on what things come up. In any given day. It's. But mostly my day is, I'll get calls from somebody who has a question about something, quick question. And here's the thing that I want to stress. If I am accessible, but if I don't take your call, leave me a message or text me and I will get back to you. What I won't do is if you call and don't leave a message, I'm not going to call you back, because you know how many calls I get in a day that if it's not worth your time to leave a message or text me, it's not worth my time to call you back, because I think you've already handled it. So all you have to do is text me, hey, call me back when you get a chance, and I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you the soonest that I can. So that's basically what my day is, dealing with questions. I unfortunately, with 3 offices, I have dealings with attorneys with some issues that we've had here and there. Yesterday, I had a couple of calls with the attorneys on something that's going on in one of the offices, and then I will deal with that. I mean, that's usually what my day is. I teach usually two classes a month, so I'm figuring out what those classes are, and maybe I have to do some prep for it. That's part of my day, but one day is, I can't predict what one day will be, because it's all dictated by every one of you. So
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's kind of cool though, because it's always, I mean, it's kind of organized chaos, right?
Exactly.
And you never know what you're going to get. So it almost makes it exciting, like, ooh, what phone calls are happening today?
Exactly. And who do I not want to call back? No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So can you, and then we'll go to questions, not real estate. Well, anyway, I guess it could be any question, but not.
I think you can do that. I think ask me any question.
Do you have a story that you can share with us that is maybe one of the craziest things that you've had to encounter being the broker of record? Like, you got off the phone and go like, what happened?
Well, I probably have several, but the one that stands out in my mind is, and I've told this story in one of my classes, is that I was contacted by an agent who was the listing agent. They were doing the final walkthrough on the date of recording, and during the final walkthrough, the neighbor, Gladys Kravitz, I say it all the time for those of you who don't know, Gladys Kravitz is look up Bewitched. She's the nosy neighbor. And she came over to the new buyers and said, oh, did you know that this was a grow house and it had been raided several times? And the buyer obviously did not know. The listing agent, who was my agent, did not know. And the buyer says, I don't want this house. Now, for those of you who know, this is a big material fact, and the buyer has the right to rescind. But here's what the problem was. It was closing. The funds had already been moved over. It's being recorded as we speak. So how does that happen? So I quickly get on the phone with attorneys, and every attorney is recommending to me to, okay, tell everybody to lawyer up. lawyer up, get your lawyer, get everything. But I talked to the escrow officer, who is an escrow officer in one of my offices. And I said, what can we do? And she is a fantastic escrow officer. And she says, well, I think we can do this, this, and this. And I think we can unravel this. It's going to cost everybody a little money, but everybody agreed that they would pay what, even the buyer, whatever, you know, a few $100s to get out of this. And I went against lawyers' advice, and I let it happen. And in a week, that sale was unraveled. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to happen all the time, but it was just, I saw where it was going, and I saw that it could end well for everybody. So I said, okay, let's go ahead and put our trust in our escrow officer and unravel this and get it out. That was one of the craziest things I had to deal with.
Wow. That is crazy. And the moral of the story is, like, I mean, you know, you like listing agents or even buyer agents in general will go to you. Should I disclose this? And it's like, okay, if you're asking yourself that, then yes.
Yes, you should. Absolutely. Disclose. They don't say that for nothing. And this is, if you're working with buyers, I say this all the time. Have your buyers knock on the doors next to. That's part of their investigation. When we bought our house, our very first house in what was then Van Nuys, which is now Valley Glen, we knocked on the neighbors' doors, you know, and said, hey, what do you think of the neighborhood? What, you know, and we got a sense. And from doing that, number one, we met our neighbors, and we became the block captains. They had you know, didn't have an organized system for years, and we did it because we knew our neighbors and we loved that street. So you know, knock on those doors, because it's really important, because you learn a lot from those nosy neighbors.
Because they will tell you everything.
They will tell, oh God, they will tell you everything. Oh yeah. And that's what you want. And, you know, and tips for those of you who have open houses, and it may not even be your listing, it may be somebody else's in the office. If that nosy neighbor comes to your listing and tells you about it, you need to disclose that to the listing agent, who needs to disclose that. You know, just because you're not the listing agent, you still need to, that becomes a material fact, even though you're just holding it open. So
wow, that's awesome. So real quick, Philip or anyone on the call, do you guys have questions for our amazing Rich?
Oh, maybe something to kind of comment on. I mean, this is amazing. 30 years in one industry and then shifting gears right into real estate. I mean, that's huge. And the fact that you're able, you know, while I was listening in the car and then coming in, the fact that you're able to take those experiences and wins and losses even, and just kind of reinvest it all into real estate. It's like you collapse timeframes. You know, being president of the board, president-elect, you know, a lot of times people think, oh, you got to be a lifer in real estate in order to make an impact. And it's like the roaring 2000s for you. You literally just crushed it.
Yeah. Yeah. I you know, like, I started my full-time real estate career in 2010.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah. That's amazing.
I had good people pushing me and mentoring me, and that's what it takes. And I see it in Philip, you know, he helping others, and I see it in a lot of you helping others, and that's what it's about. We're not competing for stuff, you know, we need to be there to lift everybody up, not to put them down.
Yeah, absolutely. Christine, did you have a question?
No, I just want to make a comment on the Rich Pisani fan club president. Rich, so everything you said so far, I was relating to so much you were saying because I do love the paperwork. So I'm right there with you. That's my favorite part, actually. But we've had talk when we went to the ALC dinner. I feel like our lives have passed in our past careers because in the 80s, that's what I did. I was in the entertainment business with you or doing that. So I'm pretty sure. And, but that is the thing. When you first came, I'd been there with the prior broker to you and it was scary and you couldn't ask a question and that's how it was. And when you first came, you had the little cubicle on the side before we did our remodel. If nobody knows, when he was in the office every day or he came in, and I would leave you little Post-it notes on your keyboard with a smiley face because I was so nervous about you. I was like, oh my gosh, there's Rich, and so I would leave you little notes and say hi. I just wanted, to have a conversation with you and stuff. Do you remember those notes? I used to put them
I do
all the
yeah.
time. That was, right when you came, whatever year that was. But anyway, but I will say to everyone in the office, and and I have adored you and said this to you many times, you are the most available. There's not, without a doubt, a time that I don't text you within, super fast. You answer my question and I'm very appreciative and I love that. And I also am like you. If someone calls me and doesn't leave a message, I don't bother calling them back. I know that's a lot of people do that nowadays, especially younger people. My kids will say that to me all the time. Well, I called you. No, you didn't. You didn't leave a message. But anyway, but I applaud you for that. I'm very appreciative of you in the office, and I thank you so much for that.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for all that you do for the office.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, awesome. Well, I know best broke I've ever had. Thank you, Rich. Yeah, I mean, I can't say enough amazing things about you, and I appreciate your time this morning. I appreciate your time every single day and the dedication that you have, not only to our agents in Calabasas, but the agents in the other office that you do, and then being part of CAR, and then our president-elect, and we can't wait for the installation next year when you're the president. I mean, we're just super proud of you and love you to pieces.
Well,
So,
thank you. Thank you. Best office.
yeah. Woohoo!
Unless there's somebody from another office on there. All right. So,
That's awesome. All right. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Rich. Have a fabulous Friday and let us know if you need anything.
bye.
All right. Bye.